since that point, really, we've done life together. Really, just more than just school. Really, like I've been to I've been to multiple of his family homes back in San Diego, and we've gone to Mexico. We've traveled together. I was in his wedding. Um, so many different things. We've really done life together, and that's very special to me. Someone that I can still say that we continue to talk and build to this day. Um, yeah, so I'm just gonna hand it over to my good friend, Mr. Chris Garcia. So if you could show him some quick love, some hand claps or hand reactions. He's about to dive in. So this is again, if you still got stuff to write with, this is the time to start writing some gems down because he's about to go in. All right, all you,
I
Chris.
appreciate you, Renato. I'm really honored to be here with every single one of you guys. And yesterday, I got a chance to work with the incoming freshmen, and you guys, seeing that you guys are seniors now. Um, Hopefully, a year from now, you guys will be have the opportunity to go in person to the universities. But if not, I definitely want to prepare you guys what steps you need to take in order to be successful at your last year as a senior at the same time as you guys get ready for college. And even then, if you ever go to an online college, these are really cool tips to the trade. And I'm going to be speaking to you guys, and you have the advantage, as I told yesterday's class, but you guys have the advantage because I'm going to speak to you guys from the standpoint of being a online professor for the University of San Diego, and also in person, and how to change everything to online as well. But I'll go over my bio in a minute. But like Renato said, we did meet 11 years ago, and I can't believe it's been 11 years. It's time has flown by extremely fast, and he is definitely like a little brother to me, a lifelong brother. And if you really think about it, I've already known him for a third of his entire life. So it's kind of crazy if you kind of like, think about those kind of things. So either way, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll go ahead and start diving into everything. All right. Cool. All right. Thumbs up if you guys can see that. Awesome. All right. Cool. I just got to get the full view on here. All right. We are going to be focusing today on how to be the best online student. All right. And if you're wondering, like, why is this guy talking to us? What does he know about it? Well, let me go ahead and explain a little bit. I am an adjunct professor at the University of San Diego. It's been truly it's just been a lot of hard work being able to get to where I've been blessed to I've been able to attain these spheres of influence. That's really how I look at it. But let me give you guys a little bit of encouragement and explain to you guys how I got there. My education started back in 2006. I started junior college. I was at the age of 21. From 18 to yeah, the age of 20 and 21, I honestly did not go to school. And I did not go to school because I did not have exactly the session you guys just had a few moments ago. I did not know how to fill in scholarships. I did not know how to apply for free money and for different things. And I wish I would have had the session I just heard like a few moments ago. So you guys are already a way advanced in what I've been able to do. I've had to learn through the hard knocks, but I went to junior college here in Chula Vista, California. I got my associate's degree and my transfer of studies. I got transfer of studies because I wanted to get in and get out. I wanted to make sure I enjoyed the last 2 years of college at a major university. And from 2008 to 2010, I spent time at UC Davis. And like Renato said, my last year there, he was an incoming freshman. I was a senior, and we connected through one of the student clubs that we were connected with. I got my bachelor's in sociology. I did do an emphasis in law and society. And ironically, one of the cool things about sociology, the reason why I went in, and I've been sharing this the last 3 weeks, just because of a lot of the tension that we've been realizing and seeing in our country. But Martin Luther King said one time that education is one of the key facets to defeat racism. And I really thought that really impacted me when I was in high school. And it got to the point where I wanted to look, well, what did Martin Luther King study? And he actually got his bachelor's degree in sociology. So go figure. And then after that, I went to grad school at the University of San Diego. So I had the opportunity to come back home, and I got my teaching credential and my master's in education here at USD. And then from there, I actually 5 years later on, I went to San Diego State for a year and got my administrative credential. I've since and Renato can attest to this, but ever since I was 17 and even throughout college, I always had the desire to give back to the community. And one of the ways I felt would be to be a school administrator. And I still want a few more years under my belt. On top of that, I really like where my career path has taken me right now, and that leads me to where I'm at. So I'm currently at the Chula Vista Elementary School District, and I've been there for 7 years, going on year 8 in a few months of teaching. It's been crazy, but it'll be year 8, and and then the cool thing is now I get to teach, and you guys are gonna like this. I get to teach over 4,000 sixth graders, and I get to see a different class every day. So I get about 30 students every single day, and I get to spend. We have break our day into two parts. The first part, I get to talk to them is about their strengths, interests, and values. So we hone in on what the students' strengths are. So we have our own little strength finders, like little exams that we have them do. And the students learn a lot about themselves the first half of the day. And then we tie those strengths in with careers. So we tell them, like, hey, if you want to be an auto engineer, if you want to be a chef, if you want to be a journalist, if you want to be a sports medicine physician, if you want to be a computer programmer, a computer coder, a video game designer, then from there, we'll go and connect those careers with their strengths. And then the second half of the day, I get to teach computer robotics and computer coding. So a lot of different things that I really enjoy doing. So my sphere has jumped from just being a classroom teacher. Now I get to teach every single sixth grader. So if you really had to put the last 2 years, I've taught over 8,000 sixth graders. That's crazy to think that, like, so yeah. So that's what's been going on at the University of San Diego. I've been there for 4 years. I actually started online as an online professor. So a lot of the online pandemic that had just transitioned really wasn't anything new to me. And then this past year, I got to teach in person on site, which was really, really cool. I got to teach in the fall semester, science and math. And then this past semester, from January through May, I got to teach a class called Learning and Technology. And I pretty much prepared my teachers prior to this whole lockdown. I was teaching these grad students how to be Google certified, Microsoft certified, and Apple certified online teachers. And then March, right before spring break, we had to shut down the university and go online. So I told them, like, all right, now, well, let me put my money where my mouth is and let me put my practices to use. So that's what we did. And then from 2017 up until right now, I've been serving on the board as San Diego Computer Using Educators, which is known as San Diego Q. And I actually now got promoted to be the vice president for this organization. It's a chapter in San Diego. There's a chapter in Los Angeles. There's a chapter in Northern California as well. Actually, our West Coast conference happens every October, either in Fairfield or Rancho Cordova. So I know it's some of your territory right there. So every now and then I'll make my way up there. But I really appreciate this because I love technology. I love education. So yeah, that's so again, here's my little bio. If you guys are wondering, wait, what does this guy know about tech and school and whatnot? So hopefully that has been some of you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about how to be the best online student. Take notes, especially make sure you ask questions. And I'll be checking the chat bar every few moments if you do have questions. And all right, I like seeing some of these comments already. This is awesome. Okay, so let me go ahead and get rid of these comments though. All right, here we go. All right. First things first. This is going to be really, really tough, but we have to pretend that it's a normal day. So, my encouragement to you guys is treat your virtual classroom like a regular classroom. So, your day, you start off, you get up, you set an alarm Monday through Friday. You set your alarm up 6 a.m., 7 a.m., no matter what the case is, you set it up. You go out for a walk, you do a quick workout. Even if it's just some jumping jacks for 15 minutes, there's apps that do that. There's YouTube videos, YouTube tutorials, and get ready for that because you want to create and in your mind. A lot of these things we're going to talk about this first half is going to be inside your head. You guys want to make sure you guys are preparing your days. You separate Monday, Friday, all the way from Saturday and Sunday, because if not, much like I've felt into it these past few months, and I'm pretty sure you guys have too. The days all feel the same. Every single day feels the same, and if you do not have a routine and have a way to condition yourself, then you're when are you going to find that motivation? One of the biggest challenges I found with a lot of my grad students, these are grad students trying to get their graduate degree, was finding motivation. So it's a hard thing to do, but we need to now step above and rise to the occasion. All right, we are living in a time where we're going to be telling our kids and their grandkids how we were motivated. All right, so that's a big thing. And also a big thing also is get dressed. Get dressed for the day. Even if you're at home, but get dressed. All right. Don't be and do what you can. Put some jeans on. What you're trying to prove it to yourself. I saw memes out there like, why are you wearing jeans? What are you trying to prove to everyone out there? And it's like, I'm trying to prove to myself that I'm living a normal day. All right. So get ready, take a shower, brush your teeth, comb your hair, shave, get ready for the day, Monday through Friday, right? And then, let that 5 o'clock shadow hit on Friday afternoon. And for the fellas, ladies, you thankfully, hopefully, you don't have a 5 o'clock shadow, but either way, you take care of yourselves, okay? So that's what we want you guys to focus on. So keep your day structured, keep it normal, keep it going. All right. So, and at the same time, just a heads up, after 3 questions, I'm going to be opening up for Q&A. So I want to kind of keep it interactive the entire time we're here. So if you have anything. So again, keep your day normal as much as possible. And number two, I'm going to go ahead and share this one. Separate, all right? Keep a separate workspace. And I share these two specific photos right here because one of the things you want to do is whether you have in your studios or in your bedrooms, whatever the case is, you want to have distinct functions in your room of where you have and what you do in each one. So, like as you can see, the first one I have right here, I have there's a bookshelf that this specific person is using as an entertainment center, yet also as a way of separating the bedroom from their living room per se. And I would encourage you guys get dividers. Go to OfferUp if you can, or even get boxes like stack boxes up from Costco if you guys go to Costco or whatever. But just be creative. Separate your room. And the reason why is because you don't want to, and if you're doing it now, no judgment at all, okay? Because that's why we're having this session. But you don't want to have your Zoom calls, and you don't want to have your conference calls and your teacher's office hours or your classroom lectures or lessons or tutoring sessions on your bed, because one, it's not very professional. But number two, you're gonna rewire your brain to think that the same place where I'm supposed to sleep, where I'm supposed to recover, where I'm supposed to rest, is the same place where I'm actually like thinking really, really hard and trying to problem solve and troubleshoot. You want to like lay down in your bed and know that this is an area where I'm gonna rest, I'm gonna rejuvenate, I'm gonna watch a movie real quick or whatever. That you're gonna rest there. And that's why I also put the photo of a desk as well. You want to have a separate workspace. You want to be able to distinguish that. Currently, my wife and I, we have a studio that we live in because housing in San Diego is very expensive. All right. But we're making do right now and doing what we have to do. So eventually, when we do buy a place, but what we did in our own studio, I'm actually in a corner of our studio right now where I separated the walls, where it's just basically, I'm not going to hang anything up here. I'm in a specific chair that I only sit in when I'm working because my mind knows that when I sit here, I work. When I go to sit on the couch, it's because I'm going to relax. When I go to bed, I'm going to fall asleep. And I kid you not, I was in the habit before of even grading and doing work on my bed, and I would struggle to fall asleep. And ever since I stopped doing that, within 5 minutes max 5 minutes, as soon as I hit the sack, if as long, even if I in the daytime, if I lay down on there, I'll fall asleep within 5 minutes. And it's just interesting to see how your brain starts to rewire it. So those are some of the things that I would definitely encourage you guys. um, and if you guys can look on OfferUp, you can just be creative. Go to Pinterest, try to find ways. Pinterest has DIY or cheap ways of creating room dividers. You can get some for like $20 on OfferUp, and they're really cool looking Japanese kind of looking ones. So it's legit. It's a really cool thing. All right, last thing before we go to Q&A, and then after that we'll continue on. I have 10 different points. So turn off unnecessary media. All right. So ironically, actually, just a few moments ago, I just swiped up on my iPhone and I put the do not disturb button on there. So any text messages, anything coming in, I wouldn't be able to see it. And it's important to have that separation. Again, we're like I told you in the beginning, we're playing a big mind game right now. So You want to make sure you have all unnecessary um, media, social media distractions off. You're going to have to rise to the occasion for that. In a few moments later on, towards the end of it, I'm going to go over a specific method that focuses on how to train your brain to really focus, and it's a really cool exercise that we're going to actually talk about in a moment. If you do have to have, and I have actually done this, I like having maybe like YouTube on, and I know you guys had like some really cool like just background music going on. If I'm working, if I'm reading, if I'm studying, I'll actually put YouTube on, and I'll put like cafe music, or I'll put cafe music on where it kind of has that like cafe noise or that cafe jazz or coffee shop music, because like, again, in my brain I'm feeling that way. Other times where I'm just trying to chill and I just want to close my eyes and relax, I'll put like if I'm like hanging at the beach on YouTube and like have that scenic music going on. Again, we have to find ways to be creative if we're going to be having online, or if we have to have. Hopefully we don't, but if we have to have a situation like we did from March all the way through May, where we're stuck in the house and we're going and doing school and everything like that. So again, these are just ways of settling your brain, of disciplining yourself, and so that's some of the things. So right now I'm going to open up. If you have any Q&A, I'm going to read the chat, see if you guys asked anything there. All right, I like that. I like the hashtags here. Quite organized gang. All right, bald gang. Okay, what's going on here? Who has hair? Some of the smartest people. Somebody said it's kind of like STEM. Yes, so I do work in a STEM program. We call it STEAM because we add the A for art in there. All right. Yes, but like Katie said, creating a space that allows you to do the work, it's gonna allow you who you want to be. Hey, I would even add like for like $8, if you go to Amazon, you can buy one of those like yoga mats, and, and like create your own little PE space. So it's important. You have to, like I said earlier, this is a mind game right now. Like we're all fighting it, so it's not like, man, it's been a tough year. It's been a tough year for the world. It's one of those things like, man, 2020 has been a hard year. Well, yeah, for all of us, and we're all fighting it. And we're all forcing ourselves, especially our generation. I mean, I'm like one of like I lead the streamline for all millennials, but we do these things where it's like, man, our attention span is really short. I mean, our attention span lasts as long as an Instagram or a Snapchat, like 30-second video. Well, now we have to rewire our brain and really force ourselves to have that endurance and that perseverance. So this is a marathon. We are all running in together. So utilize each other as accountability. All right. So, all right, let me go ahead and talk a little bit more.
Hey,
Renato,
Mr.
Jack, you got one indulge with, or like bless us with something?
Real quick, I had a question for you, Professor Garcia.
Sure.
Any advice if you share a room with siblings? How do I make that work?
Wow, that is a great one. Man, you know what? I would have to say try to create a schedule. Try to create a schedule where maybe you guys can work together in different spheres, and like, hey, you take the morning, you take the evening, and you alternate. See if there's other areas too. I mean, if you have an opportunity, if you have like a back patio or a backyard or somewhere, like just separate. And again, it's going to be all in how creative and how you guys create your schedules. For the most part, that's another thing too. Like if you have to share a common area, like treat it like a study area. Like, hey, you know what? From this time to this time, we're going to study, and create some norms, create some grounds. And it's going to sound very like, it's going to feel weird. I'm not going to lie. Like, if you try to create norms with your siblings, like, hey, but it's a great way of like collaborating. It's a great way. I mean, think about it. When we get back into the workspace, when we get into the real world, we're going to work with people. We're going to have to be creative and find ways to collaborate with them. That's a great question. How to work with your siblings, and if you have to share a room with them, you're gonna have to learn how to take turns. And we know that the struggle is real sometimes, and if everyone don't whine at the same time too. And we're actually going to talk about that in a minute, because we're going to talk about having a calendar and being able to share that. So yeah, I really appreciate it. That's a really good question. I really thank you so much for bringing that
There's
up,
one
Renato.
more from Brother Giovanni. He said, "What if I live in a loud house? How household? How can I focus on my work?"
Yeah. If you can get headphones, really, I mean, it's gonna be tough, but headphones are gonna probably be the best thing you can do. Um, and if there's like a common area or if there is a backyard, it's going to be tough. Yeah, having a loud house will be. The other thing can do is this is if you go to bed early and you wake up early, that's another thing too. I know a lot of successful people. If you really think about a lot of millionaires and billionaires that we have in the world, if you read a lot of their books, like from Bill Gates or from Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos, you see these guys. These guys have like really big, hardworking schedules where they get up like at 4 a.m. And if you really think about it, from 4 a.m. to like 6 a.m., it's nice and quiet all over the world, and wherever you're at. I mean, just getting up, So, if that's going to be a challenge, and you really enjoy your peace and quiet, you might want to alter some your schedules like that, where you basically go to bed early, you wake up early to study, to read, or whatever the case is. So, that's going to be huge right there. Yeah. All right. Cool. I like this one. Isolate in the bathroom. Yeah. If you have a Zoom call in the bathroom, the acoustics would sound great too. So just as a heads up with that. All right, so let's go ahead and now move forward to talking about your virtual classroom etiquette. All right, first off, we don't know what your teachers are going to be using. Sometimes they use Google Hangouts, Google Classroom. They'll use Skype, Microsoft Teams, and a lot of these have to do with, I mean, whatever they're comfortable with. So I would encourage you, become comfortable with knowing the platforms. Email your teachers beforehand if they ask, like, "Hey, we're going to be meeting," and if they say Zoom, and if you're not comfortable with Zoom, which I'm assuming you guys are because we're using this, or maybe Google Hangouts or Microsoft Teams, watch tutorials, go on YouTube, see what the features look like. And the reason why is I'm going to go to this next slide right here. You're going to want to know first off. I like doing this as a habit. I like to make sure that my microphone and my video are always off before I enter any meeting. I don't want to be accidentally saying something or having people hear something they shouldn't be hearing. On top of that, I prepare my household by saying, or my wife, at least say, "Hey, I'm going to start my meeting in a few moments," and it's one of those things. And also knowing the features. I see a lot of you guys with the features with the thumbs up or with the clap on the little icons that you can choose, or even just the hand motions and the signals. Those are the different things you can use, and knowing those features. The other thing I want to address when it comes to etiquette is a couple things, and that's pretty much knowing your audience, knowing how to code switch. And what I mean by code switch is knowing how to communicate in one atmosphere in comparison to another. So, first things first, as you guys can see, I put internet acronyms. I would have to say some of the biggest pet peeves that I have as a teacher and talking to other teachers and professors is when we see acronyms for either messages or even on papers or classroom discussions. You want to avoid that. This is an academic setting and you want to communicate academically. You want to save these acronyms for when you text your friends or when you're making TikTok videos or whatever the case is. You want to save these acronyms for that. Okay. So know when to use that. The other thing is this is that's going to be very, very interesting is that even when I've graded and I've done work, even with my own sixth graders, we would use platforms like Google Classroom and Edmodo, which is another one um, that we would use. And I've been doing that for the last 7 years. And one of the things I even tell my former sixth graders, and and that would be if if I put a post on there, I need you to comment on it. I need you to comment that you got it. I need you to comment what you're enjoying or what you're looking forward to it. If you're done with something, let me know because this is how we rate classroom participation. Classroom participation comes with your interactiveness online. So that's a big aspect of it. So if I see somebody, and you guys have, I mean, you guys are an institute right now, and I'm not officially your teacher, but one of those things where I want to be able to make this as interactive as possible. So as your teacher, I would prefer to see everyone's face, if possible. Again, I know there's situations, and if that's the case, just let your teacher know. Communicate with your teacher. Hey, like even if it's a situation like, hey, I won't be able to be there, or I could probably zoom in, but just with my microphone on. But your teacher needs to know, and your teachers should feel safe, and hopefully you do but with your teachers to be able to be honest with them. But we want to see your faces. We want to be able to see your reactions because as the biggest thing as a teacher is being able to read the room, having those teachable moments. And if we can't see you, if we don't see your interactions or your engagement with it, then we end up being like that teacher from like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where we're just like talking and talking and talking. So I just want to encourage you guys with that. All right. Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and move forward. This is the next part. So those ones that we're talking about having siblings in the room and whatnot, you're gonna want to learn how to use this alarms and calendars, and we'll talk about the alarms a little bit more later on. But it's one of your best friends if you want to, like earlier, you had a 10-minute break. If you're gonna give yourself breaks, set an alarm for that. Set an alarm for those breaks because by you being able to set an alarm for these breaks, it's one of those things where it keeps you focused and it keeps you accountable for that. But the other thing is this is a calendar. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the days can get really blurred. So I like personally like analyzing and looking at my weekly calendar on Sunday nights. The reason why is because I want to know what I'm doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and I want to have my week planned. It doesn't matter, and I'll go. And I became a lot more fickle with this starting in March when this whole lockdown started, and that was I'm gonna put on there when I eat breakfast, when I'm out, when I am going to study, and I also share my calendar with my wife, so that way she sees that and she knows, like, all right, my husband's being busy during this time, when our date nights are, everything. So that way she knows, and that way I know. It keeps myself again accountable, and it keeps me from being able to recognize Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it keeps you able to recognize and enjoy Saturday and Sunday. Again, we're trying to condition ourselves, and then when of course those breaks happen, I mean, for me, like it's really I've been able to do that. So like I'm on summer vacation right now. I'm able to enjoy summer vacation because it feels like summer vacation, even though I've been working from home since March. But it's again, it's all in the mind of how you're approaching these different things. Okay. All right. Number 6, pace your work. Now I'm not gonna. I put this fable right here of the tortoise and the hare because if you guys know the story, the hare and the tortoise are matched up with the race. And what happens is, and if you don't know the story, I'm just going to give you the Cliff Notes version. The hare is just whizzing through and just going through it, and to the point where he's like, you know what? I am way ahead of where this tortoise is at. So I'm going to just chill. I'm going to relax, and I am not going to, at any given point, I am not going to give into the hare, all right? And so that's what happens. The tortoise and the hare is just sitting down, relaxing, or with the bunny or the rabbit, and he's just relaxing, chilling. And the tortoise uh, catches him, and the rabbit's just hanging out. He's just sleeping. And as that's going on, the tortoise just ends up passing him by. And as soon as the hare or the rabbit wakes up, he's like, "Wait, what?" And he speeds up and he realized that he just let time fly by. And the reason why I share that is because one, you want to take your time. The tortoise, and the lesson learned from the story is that the tortoise took his time. He did his best. He took his time. He did not rush through his work. And the reality is that rushing through will really hurt you, especially if you're like, let me just get it over with. You want to be able to take your time. In addition to that, I also want to encourage you guys. You will have the advantage to take your time or get extensions based on your participation and your communication level with your teachers. If you tell your teachers, like, hey, if you're communicating with them and if something comes up with your family or a sickness or whatever, hey, I need an extension. Can I have it? Because a lot of these things that we're doing is pretty much like at self pace. We can be very flexible with that. Trust me, teachers can be very flexible with it, and they're more flexible with students that are communicating, that are on time, that are honest. So if you show integrity throughout your entire schoolwork, your teachers will be flexible and give you breaks when you need it. All right, take it from me as a teacher, as a college professor. That's what I do with my students, especially when life hits. I want to be able to be there to support them and to make sure that they're successful. That's our goal. We're successful if you're successful. All right. Q&A again. I'm going to go ahead and check to see if anybody put anything on the chat. So yeah, basically never give up. I like this. You try to prepare yourself, Katie, 3 days ahead of what's due, and schedule out your time. That's smart. Always give yourself. That's actually really good, Katie. I've always encouraged that. That's how I was in grad school. I wish I would have been like that at my undergrad at UC Davis, but I finally learned when I got to grad school, and that was that give yourself a deadline before the actual deadline. So if a paper was due like on the 31st, no, the paper was due on the 25th for me, and that way I had 5 days. So yeah, consistency is there. You go. We want to have consistency. So thank you, Coach Kai. All right. So if anyone does not have any question or anything, we can move forward. Oh yeah, I see. Yes, yes. All right. So you set an alarm for breaks. You also set an alarm for like when time to wake up. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. And I'm going to show you actually a really cool concept in a few moments. Of when it comes to that specific focus as far as like taking breaks and whatnot. But yeah, you're gonna want to do that, and the alarms are gonna be your best friend, and you'll get used to it. You'll get conditioned to it. It's more like think about it this way: we have our lunch and nutrition breaks like always at the same time when we're in school, right? So, have you ever had the situation where it's break and you're on winter break, spring break, summer break, and when you start, it's like, oh wow, why am I hungry? It's 10:30. Why am I hungry right now? I just woke up, or it's like I've been awake and like I haven't already had breakfast or whatever. Again, it's one of those things. It's like your mind gets conditioned to it. So you have to pretty much, you guys are learning how to be your own boss. And this is really powerful. I mean, I'm almost probably speaking to a future entrepreneurs because you guys are going to learn how to be your own boss. All right, moving forward, actively engage. Now, I did talk a little bit about this, but one of the things that you want to do is you want to actively engage. I put a screenshot from a Google Classroom, and as you guys can see, you have different students that are communicating the comments to what the professor or the teacher posted on here. And this is from 2016. So it's crazy to see that this is what we consider classroom participation. You also see the individual here. This guy right here that just woke up. I mean, well, didn't looks like he didn't wake up. He's fresh. He's clean. He's like he's ready. He's active. He has his headphones on. He has his notepad. He has everything ready to go because he's actively engaged. He is there. He is present. You're going to want to do that when you're in school. You're going to want to do that when you're meeting online with your professors. Now, also, I want you guys to consider this. What if we go back to everything being normal? Well, what if you decide to go to an online program, an online school? One of the things they told us at USD now, and we weren't doing before, was now that everyone's using Zoom, they want us as online professors to always have Zoom hours moving forward. And even though the classes and the students that I teach at USD online are from all over the world, I've had students in China, in the Philippines, in Mexico, in the Caribbean, in New York, so on the East Coast. But putting a time where they said like now that we have the ability to use Zoom, so even if you're like, well, I mean, if you're gonna use this in college, just know that if you go to an online school for university, this is going to be a requirement now. So again, like I'm telling you, this is how you can be effective and have your teachers and your professors support you by you being communicative and um, actively just being engaged. All right. Now, here's my one of my favorite sessions, and that is avoiding eye fatigue. All right, so there's two things. I'm gonna go over the first one with the glasses because I'm actually wearing them right now. As you can see, look, it looks like blue light because that's exactly what they are. They're blue light glasses, and I got these for $4 on Amazon. All right, I got them for $4 on Amazon. You could probably get them cheaper, like for $1 on eBay, and it's gonna probably take like 2 months to get in because it's coming from another country. But either way, it supports me. As soon as I put these on in March, um, or when I ordered them, after having a week without them, my headaches went away. They immediately went away, and so I wear these. If I'm watching TV, I wear them too. It helps a lot. It helps me fall asleep faster. The other thing also I want you to consider is that uh, grabbing books to stack your laptop on for these Zoom calls because you don't always want to be looking down like this. You don't want to be looking up like that. You want to be able to look face to face. You want to pretend and you want to pretty much visualize I am talking to someone face to face. And book. And if you're like, well, I don't have any books. I don't know if you guys have them in Sacramento. Hopefully you do. But here in San Diego, we have these what's called the little free libraries. So I would just take if I were you, I'd just take a stack of books from there. I mean, I'd read them, But I'd also use them to stack my laptop on as well. So those are the two biggest tips I can give you. There's other tips you could probably find online as well, but when it comes to the focus of your neck and your posture and your eye strain, that's going to be one of the biggest things you're going to want to engage in. Okay. All right. So the other thing is this: take frequent active breaks. Now, I wanted to talk about this. It's called the Pomodoro technique. All right. So there's four different steps to this, and this is where the alarms come in a lot more. That is one. If you have a calendar, identify your tasks for the day. Number two, so if you're working on an assignment, if you're studying, you want to set a timer for 25 minutes, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to work for the duration of that timer. So trust your alarm that you're going to just like, all right, I'm going to put everything away. I'm going to focus for 25 minutes. After that timer goes off, you take a 5-minute break. Now, here's the thing: you do that four different times. After the fourth break, you take a longer 15 to 30 minutes. That's where you can go get lunch, go outside, go for a 10, 15-minute walk. And yeah, just refresh yourself with that. All right. So this is a really cool method. You can look it up. You can, if you're taking notes, write this down. You can even see on YouTube how people feel about it. Some people, it'll may work for some, it may not work for others, but the key is to find something that works for you. Right. Now, the last thing is this: is to ask for assistance. Never be afraid to ask for help when it comes to virtual learning. Um, One of the things that I actually found really flattering, and it also made me feel like I was doing my job as a teacher, is when students would ask for help, ask for when it came to verifying an article, when it came to proofreading, when it came to technology help, when it came to even dealing with other classmates or dealing with colleagues or whatever. Ask for help. All right. So don't ever be afraid to do that. I will also tell you this: is that the students that would ask for help and that the ones that would need more breaks or need extensions or needed support, for the most part, I would say I would always support them. I would always guide them. I would always give them the breaks or the extension they needed. There were students though that I had that were not actively involved, actively engaged. They would never communicate to me, and then yet the only time they would communicate, "Hey, Professor Garcia, can I have an extension?" I'd be like, "No." Like and I mean, I wouldn't say this, but it was almost like, "Who are you?" Like, I only see your name, I only seen your work, but I don't even know who you are. And the thing is, I'd always put those disclaimers in the beginning to start with that. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump in for some Q&A again. All right. So, Corey asks, how can I stay motivated to do my work even when I don't want to? Well, that's a very big challenge, Corey. I would have to say find a way to like reward yourself. If there's anything that you can do to reward yourself, to do that. And I mean, for me, like a big reward is like being able to like, all right, honestly, like even just like going out and getting something to eat later on, or watching a specific television show. That's another thing also. Rather than like, for example, tonight, my wife and I got into this new series on the CW. Renato knows this; it's a big deal actually because it was my wedding. But I'm a big comic book fan, so we've been watching a new series on the CW called Stargirl, and I know it's on right now. I could have woken up first thing in the morning. Oh, let me catch up, and let my wife and I. But no, I purposely said like we're gonna watch it tonight. Let's make sure we finish all of our tasks. So it's learning to reward yourself. It's learning to reward yourself and motivate yourself to get tasks done, and also know the feeling. Know the feeling of when you accomplish something. It feels so much better. You know the weight taken off your shoulders when you accomplish something. So I would encourage you, try to find ways to reward yourself. All right. So that's a really, really good one. All right. Oh, thank you. The glasses. These glasses are called blue light glasses. The brand specifically is GBD. I have no idea. This was the cheapest thing I could find on Amazon. So that's what I got. But I also wanted it just to be really sleek and just like simple and basic. Yeah, if you do use them too long with electronics, you might get a headache. All right. Renato, you actually use this, yes, the Pomodoro technique in college. It helped you a lot. Yeah, that's really cool. I actually tried in college, but I mean, I don't know. It for some reason, like I said, it ended up working in grad school, not undergrad. So, if you get too nervous to ask for help, all right, that's a great one. Always, like Renato said earlier, like it's important to have a mentor. There's been situations even in our life where he's come to me for advice on many aspects, and I've gone to him for advice as well. So try to find that one person, and even have them coach you. If you're like, I don't know how to ask my professor for help or my teacher for help, um, have someone coach you and practice with a best friend. I mean, that's why they're your best friends because you can practice with them. Like, all right, how's the interview going to go? How are you going to approach it? And there's times when I've had to have difficult conversations or situations, and I practice and I role play. I said, all right, I asked my wife like, all right, I need you to ask me this question, and I'm going to rephrase it. I'm going to phrase it out. I'm going to read it out loud. So whatever question you have for your teacher or whatever you need help at, write it out. Literally, write it out and then practice saying out loud because then when you bring it up to them, it won't be as nervousing. But also consider this: if you're sending emails to your teacher, I mean that's a little bit safer. You know, people like anything else. You can use it for good or bad, but people like to hide behind the camera for a reason. So, but emails, I mean, for a good reason, that would help. All right. All right. Any other questions? I'm looking here. Yeah, so basically stay motivated. But again, like I said, reward. Um, you have to find a way to reward yourself. Any which way. Um, so even if it's playing a video game or watching a television show or taking a break or whatever the case is. Um, yeah. Any cool phone apps you recommend for calendar, taking breaks? I believe there might be a Pomodoro app that you can actually download. So try to find those apps that you can do. I'm very basic, and that's one of the cool things is Renato actually he has his own podcast. Shout out to Lead Up, and he uses Anchor for it. And I'm old school. Actually, I use GarageBand and I mix and master everything. And I actually showed someone how to use Anchor the other day. So when you're asking me about like how to use certain things, it's cool, but I will tell you this: I'll usually just use a default, or I'll find a harder way to do it. And by the time there's an easier way, it's like, dang it, I'm already like too on the deep end to like transition everything out. So, but I would just Google what kind of apps and stuff that are motivating. But I can find some resources if you guys like. Email it to Reynaldo, and he can share it with you guys later on. Do you recommend as teenagers to work at this age before entering into college? Um, it depends. It depends how self-disciplined you are. If you feel that you're self-disciplined as far as creating a schedule, creating something where it's like, hey, I'm gonna get my schoolwork done from like 9 to 2, and then from like 2 to 6, I'm gonna work. And just know that you have from 6 to 9, or even from like 7 to 9 or 10, that you need to get your schoolwork done. Um, but also, I would actually have to say, like, try to find some of that freelance stuff. You guys are some of the most creative generations that we have right now. So there's a lot of graphic designing you guys can do. There's a lot of video editing. You can freelance like if you guys go to Fiverr, you could always like create different things. Um, yeah, you could even do a lot of marketing. They could do like market for different people. Social media is huge. There you go. Social media is really big. Like people will pay you to like, hey, can I market? Can I post? You know, so you're pretty much getting paid to hang out on Instagram for like a couple hours. And but it is work because you want to make sure also you're communicating with the proper grammar. You want the proper hashtags, knowing the proper times to post. That's a whole business in itself. And when it comes to social media marketing, that is huge. So I would encourage you guys try to find that freelance type of work, so that we have power of our own schedule. Right? Uh, do I know people that do that? That know how to do that? I do, but these are people that have been working for a while. We can find some people for you though, and I do know like it just for the most part it takes a lot, and a lot of businesses do that. So, and that would be another way to do it too. Actually, that's a great idea. If you walk into a mom and pop shop and offer to them, it's like, hey, I'd be more than happy to market your business And so like especially right now, the businesses are trying to reopen and trying to get customers in. Create them a website. I did do something like that a while back. A friend of mine needed help with the Yelp page. He didn't know how to do it, so I like, all right, cool. And he said, I told him I do charge though, bro. I can't do everything for free. He's like, well, how much do you want? And he said, all right, $40. He's like, all right, cool, $40. And I kid you not, it took me like 20 minutes. He sent me some photos, added some stuff. I made $40 in 20 minutes. Like, go figure. So I would definitely try to do that. Go try to find these mom and pop shops, and your clientele would have to be a lot of the older generation. If you try to go to a mom and pop shop where you see like these hip coffee shops and like you got millennials working in there, I mean, you could ask um to learn some stuff, but you want to hit up these like maybe even these antique shops, maybe in downtown, midtown Sac or whatever. It's like, hey, would you guys be interested? Do you guys have a Yelp page? I would be more than happy to market for you. All you get is photos, and you got internet access and a phone or a computer, and there you go, and charge them. So, but look it up. I would definitely do that. Of course, this is not my forte. I'm teaching you guys how to be online students, so I'm trying to be outside the box. But any more other questions over anything? I'm gonna move on to the next page. If you guys get my contact info. By the way, these tips were definitely taken from UC Santa Cruz. All right, so collaboration there. Shout out to our UC family. But you guys can see if you do have any other questions or want to keep in touch, I'm more than happy to with you guys on Twitter. You can find my Instagram name at I'm sorry, but it's also Instagram, Chris Garcia 03. But I'm more on Twitter. You won't find my Instagram right now because I decided to take the rest of 2020 off from that. It's just too much media intake. You guys can email me at cbgarcia@sandiego.edu as well. And yeah, I really appreciated the questions and your interactions with all of this today. And yeah, we'll go ahead and leave it at that. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I'll turn this over to is it Renato, Coach Kai?
Yep. And Chris, just real quick, man, just to kind of squeeze more out of you because I don't get to see you as often. But if you were in the shoes of these students, right? You're about to go into your senior year. Again, the world looks different. The how we are approaching school, like what's kind of the last takeaway that you would give to these guys and say to yourself, knowing what you know now? Yeah,
I would have to say be flexible and be persistent. Just kind of ride the wave. Like this is a time where there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of things that are unsettled. Um, the reality is things can change night over day. A great example is that Yosemite. We all know that they opened up and just in 24 hours, all right, we're closed again. Sorry, and you have to be cool with that. So I would say there's a lot of unknowns happening. You guys kind of have the idea knowing like, all right, senior year is going to look different. And hopefully by the time you guys May comes around next year, you guys have your ceremony. But and it's going to be hard. And I really feel for it because a lot of my students that I started working with 7 years ago, they were graduating seniors this year, and they were sixth graders when they were my first class I ever taught. So my heart went out for that. But one of the things that I was chatting with them on Instagram, and it's like I was like, I'm proud of you, and they're like, you know what, thank you. This is a tough year, but you know what? That's how life is. We gotta rise to the occasion, and that's what I would tell you guys to do. Rise to the occasion. Think outside the box. Use the strengths that you guys have. Always ask, okay, what strengths do I have that I can be successful in this? So if finding motivation's a struggle, then find, okay, well, what is it at your strengths? What strength do you have that is like, so like, well, I like to focus, or I like to, I can only think when I'm reading outside. Well, then go do your work outside. Find those ways of getting that work done and motivating yourself. And you'll notice that after 21 days, you'll get into a habit. And I'm actually going to share this with Renato now, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. Yesterday, for the first time ever, I'm 35 years old. I ran 3.5 miles without stopping. And I'm like really proud of that. Like in trail running, I've never done that. I did it again today. And the reason why is because I started on this app called C to 5K. It's taken me a year and a half to get to where I was doing that. But my motivating factor has always been my health, making sure that I'm ready. So when I do become a parent, and also the very fact that like I've never done this. Like, why don't I start something I've never done? And why don't I take the time to do that? What motivating factor? Like I have something to prove to myself. So that's what you guys are doing. You guys have something to prove to yourself. You guys have an opportunity to ride this wave, this pandemic for however long it is, and rise to the occasion of being creative, of being motivated. So I would have to say, if you guys are like, well, what's the point again? Be flexible and be persistent. Be flexible and persistent during this entire time. All right. So, and I like your hat you have back there right now. Really appreciate that.
Right. It just worked out. San Diego, right. Once again, thanks, Chris. Appreciate you. Love you, man. Can we show some love to Mr. Chris Garcia? Hand claps, hand reactions, chat box. Thank you again, man. Talk to you soon. Yes, sir. So what we're going to do now